Every person that's ever lived has been looking for their life's purpose, trying to find what is the meaning for their existence. And I would ask you, what is the thing that brings you the most satisfaction out of your life? As we go into today's devotion, we'll look at Paul's source of joy and satisfaction. And he talks about how even though he's in prison, there are things that bring him joy. Welcome to the Daily Devotion. My name is Manny, and this is where we go through the Bible verse by verse so we can grow in our knowledge of God. And today we'll be looking at Philippians chapter 1, verses 15 through 20. So let me go ahead and read it. This is what it says. To be sure, some preach Christ out of envy and rivalry, but others out of goodwill. These preach out of love, knowing that I am appointed for the defense of the gospel. Remember, Paul was talking about how, although he was in prison, the people from the church at Philippi were getting more emboldened to go and preach the gospel. So here he compares two groups of people, those who were preaching out of joy and love for the Lord, and those who were preaching out of selfish ambition. We continue here in verse 16. These preach out of love, knowing that I am appointed for the defense of the gospel. The others proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, thinking that they will cause me trouble in my imprisonment. What does it matter? Only that in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is proclaimed. And in this I rejoice. Yes, and I will continue to rejoice, because I know this will lead to my salvation through your prayers and help from the Spirit of Jesus Christ. My eager expectation and hope is that I will not be ashamed about anything, but that now as always, with all courage, Christ will be highly honored in my body, whether by life or by death. Although Paul was in prison for preaching the gospel, he knew that the Lord would eventually finish this story. And he didn't know whether that would mean death or whether that would mean life. And he would get to go to the other Roman government so that he could go and preach the gospel to them as well. But here, Paul tells us the result of his imprisonment is that a lot of people were now talking about Jesus. Some for personal reasons, for selfish ambition. Some, seeing Paul willing to suffer for Jesus, they were emboldened. And this is what I want the takeaway to be for you today. God will be honored in the life of a Christian, whether they suffer or don't suffer. There may be seasons in life where God allows us to go through some hardships. And in the middle of that, people will look at us, at our faith in the Lord. They might even be emboldened themselves to talk more about Jesus or to even put their faith in Jesus. So I like what Paul says here to wrap up. He says, my expectation is that I will not be ashamed about anything. If God has called you to a current season of struggle, suffering, or hardship, you will not be ashamed. If your hope is in the Lord, you will not be put to shame. And this is what it says, because Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death. And the good news for you, my friend, is if we die, we go to be with the Lord. Be encouraged. God is in the midst of your struggle. He is the source of your joy. And just like Paul, we want to honor God with our life or with our death. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in tomorrow's devotion. Take care, and God bless.